and welcome back to Gabbin with Jessa. Today I'm going to be talking about episode 2 of WandaVision. If you didn't see my first episode review, I'll have that linked right up here so you can check that out. But this is going to be a spoiler-filled episode, just a discussion of what went on during the episode, some of my opinions during it, and then some of my opinions after the show. So in the previous episode, we were in the 1950s. Black and white, typical kind of 1950s-esque. But now we are in the 1960s. We are still in black and white, but there's a little bit of a difference with the style of the characters, what they're wearing, and just the way that they're talking. And I really like these details. I like how Marvel was able to go into each episode so far and definitely pick out like the main staples of each era of television. So in this episode, we see that Wanda and Vision are in bed. They're actually in 2 separate beds, which I remember hearing about or learning about in some old classes, that in television, a man and a woman weren't allowed to be seen in bed together. They had to be kept separately. So I really liked that little aspect of it. So they're in the twin beds in the same room, just in a different, just 2 separate beds. And they hear some noises rustling outside on their windows. They deduce that it's probably just a tree branch, but of course we know that it's going to be something more because of just the way that this TV show is. But they eventually deduce that it is a branch. And then they do this cute thing where Wanda gets scared and she like pushes the beds together with her magic, and then cuteness ensues. And again, a little more adult contact than we're like used to. I guess we did see some of it from like Tony Stark and like his older, or like the first movies, the original Tony Stark. Not like this man who kind of transformed into a better man, but just, some interesting content that is a lot different from the Marvel that has since been put out since Disney acquired them. So later the next day, the two are preparing for a magic show, and this is super cute because, of course, they have real magic abilities with their powers and what they can do, but they're still trying to, put on a magic show, and Vision's like, why do we have to pretend like it's fake? And Wanda's like, well, obviously all magic's fake, so we're gonna have to blend in and use fake magic too. And it's super cute. I love that they're becoming more aware of their surroundings and why it's important to blend in and not use their abilities. They mostly just want to perform in this talent show. It is a fundraiser for the elementary school, for the children. And, it's just a way for them to help blend in because that's all they want. They want to be a regular couple. They just want to blend in and not stick out from everyone else around them. So Wanda and the neighbor Agnes are off to the planning committee meeting. And before they go, Wanda actually notices in her yard, it's a red and yellow, toy helicopter. And it's red and yellow because it's actually in color. Everything else is in just plain black and white, but this is actually in color. So this is when things start to get a little more, the gears start turning, and you try to figure out, okay, what the heck is actually going on? Is this still just a fun TV show? Because again, they still have the opening sitcom, which is this really cute animation of, starring Wanda and Vision. So it's WandaVision. So it's really interesting. And so you get a little, it's at this moment where things start to get the ball rolling. And at this committee planning meeting, we meet Dottie, who's like the mean neighbor, all the women in town want to be like her. She's so perfect and everything like that. She runs this town, kind of, stereotypical 60s, women in the 60s, living in a suburb kind of thing. But they also meet this really nice neighbor, Geraldine. Wanda and Geraldine really just hit it off and they become quick friends. And you can see that Geraldine is going to be very important later on. So the meeting's going on, and of course, Wanda's trying to blend in. But interesting things is that she's the only one not wearing a skirt. She's wearing pants, and she keeps talking to Geraldine, and Dottie keeps calling her out on it. And there's just like little things that you can tell that Wanda, even though she's trying to blend in, is not blending in as well as she would hope. But during this meeting, some weird things go on. At the end of the meeting, Wanda, through a radio, actually starts hearing her name being called out. It's just like, Wanda, Wanda, can you hear me, Wanda? And so that's like freaking her out, obviously. But then also Dottie cuts her hand on some glass, I think it was. So there's an incident, she cuts her hand and she's bleeding, but she's bleeding bright red, similar to how the helicopter was. So that things are starting, the reality that they're living in is starting to get warped a little bit. There's some things going wrong, or people are invading it, and definitely starting to get interesting. More questions are coming out. So at the same time that Wanda is at this meeting, planning the talent show and everything, Vision is at a committee meeting of the Neighborhood Watch, which is of course all the local dads, all the local men of the neighborhood. It's a little awkward at first. He's trying to blend in. It's not really going well. But then, you know, some talk later, they actually start getting friendly with each other. And Vision can't eat anything because he is a machine. He doesn't need to eat anything, but he tries to blend in. So he's chewing some gum. He gets like hit on the back of the shoulder or something like that, and he swallows the gum and it gets stuck in his gears. And there's this super cute animation of like the gum going down his throat and getting stuck in the gears. It's super cute. I love it. And this is how Vision becomes intoxicated. He acts very drunk for the rest of the time while the gum is stuck in his gear stomach. So at the talent show, Vision is intoxicated, and so he's basically just acting like a drunk, which was super hilarious. Paul Bettany did great during this. So they're doing a magic act, but of course everything that they want to do has to be fake magic, so that way they blend in, because that's how real magic is. But Vision actually starts performing real magic. He starts, you know, lifting the piano, or he starts flying, or he like passes his hat through his body, because that's something that he can do. So the whole time he's almost in a way exposing him and Wanda for being different from everybody else. But then Wanda, with her quick wits, she like snaps her fingers and quickly is like, oh look, no, he's not flying, like he's on a string. And the people in the audience are like, oh wow, that was so good, I didn't see that before. Or like with the piano, like she like snaps her fingers and then it becomes like, you know, a flat piece of cardboard, and she's like, oops, you weren't supposed to see that. So she did a really great job of blending in with everything. And that scene was just so funny and cute. The audience is laughing the entire time. It was a little awkward at first again, but then the audience is laughing the entire time. And they try to like sneak off, but then Dottie is like, no, wait, like this was like the funniest performance we ever had. Here, we're going to give you like the funniest award. This is the first ever award that we've ever given for being funny, and it was so cute. And of course, Wanda does use her powers backstage to get the gum out of Vision, so he's all good now. So they go home, they're super excited about, you know, winning their award, and then it turns out that Wanda is pregnant, and of course this is super fun and exciting, but then we start hearing some noises outside again. So Vision and Wanda go outside to try to investigate. And they see this guy with like a beehive keeper's costume on, like the uniform on, and he's surrounded by bees, and he's coming out of like a manhole cover. And, you know, it's very sketchy and they don't know what to do. So Wanda warps the reality and they go back to in time right before they hear that sound. So that way they don't hear it and they pretend like it doesn't exist. But then all of a sudden, things start changing and the black and white is slowly transitioning to become colorful. And so this is our transition into the 1970s era where TV was in color now. This was another fun episode, but I definitely had more questions after this episode than I did like going into it because of everything that was going on, and my big questions still weren't answered. So there's a lot of questions that are going on, and I feel like these next few episodes are going to be the ones where more answers start being revealed, whether it's for the big questions that I have or the little questions that I now have because of this show. More are gonna start coming out. And of course there was another commercial during this one, but this was for watches, but it was Strucker watches, which if you don't remember, at least within the MCU, Strucker is the gentleman who actually experimented on Wanda and her twin brother Quicksilver, or Pietro, his superhero name is Quicksilver. He experimented on them, and that's how they got their powers of being very fast and her mind telekinesis things. So there was a commercial for that, and on the watch it said something about Hydra. It had the little Hydra logo on there. So now I'm wondering, do these commercials have anything to do with anything? Like, are they also playing a role in it? I don't know, but I am super excited to find out more. But yeah, I wish there was more information that I can give, but there hasn't really been a lot of just like things to talk about. It's more of just been fun episodes. This one was also not as long as I thought it was going to be. It was only 36 minutes, but I'm just still fascinated. I want to get to know more because I am still so confused. And again, my big questions going into the show have not been answered. But this was fun to talk about. I will definitely be talking more about all the episodes to follow, so you can be ready for those videos. I can't wait to talk about those more. And then when the other TV shows start to come out and when the movies start to come out again, I will be talking about those as well. Did you guys see WandaVision episode 2? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my part 1 for the first episode of WandaVision that came out. I'll have that linked down in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, keep on gabbing.